This is Bob again reporting. My point in producing this is simply to make these clips available to the media to help them see that there really was about $30 million taken from an earlier appropriation for Southwest Light Rail. Here are the clips.
In the Metropolitan Council, what we've done is there was a $37 million appropriation made in the last biennium, of which $7 million has been spent. This is for a capital contribution to a transitway in the southwestern portion of the metropolitan area. We just simply canceled the remainder of that appropriation and then repurposed that for a number of purposes that the Metropolitan Council has, including bus operations, transitway operations, the arterial bus rapid transit on Snelling Avenue is, for example, going to be coming online in December, and they have some operating needs, and actually some capital needs, because the Metropolitan Council is not going to be included in any capital bill, we don't think, should a capital bill come up this year. There's also some small dollars, $2 million appropriated to the replacement bus service providers, what we call the opt-outs, for a demonstration project that's on a one-time basis. These transit management organizations on a one-time basis receive a little bit of funding to replace them that was lost through the MAP 21 Federal Surface Transportation Bill. I should back up, those repurposed dollars that are going to the Metropolitan Transit for operating do occur on an ongoing basis. The understanding is that should we actually pass a larger investment bill, we'll revisit that decision.
We've got a transit. We start with $5 million investment for Greater Minnesota Transit so they can continue their services across outstate areas. It captures $30 million in unobligated and unspent funds and moves it to the Met Council, where they can use it for their transit initiatives. We expect about approximately $6 million of those funds to go to Metro Mobility. We also have developed $2 million for suburban transit providers for pilot projects.
Chair Kelly, yield to a few questions.
He will yield. The gentleman from Washington, Representative Schoen.
Thank you. Representative Kelly, can you just give me a little bit of the insight on the $30 million in the unobligated and unspent, what accounts that came from, and the history of where that, how we came to that?
The gentleman from Goodview, Chairman Kelly.
Mr. Speaker, Representative Schoen, that $30 million approximately were funds that were unencumbered and unspent due to the Southwest Light Rail. And as we know, with the increasing costs and over budgeted items, the governor's office, along with many of us, were deeply troubled by that and suggested, even the governor's office suggested we go back to the drawing board. So instead of throwing good money after bad, we discussed this with the Senate, and they agreed that repurposing those dollars towards Metro Transit and allowing them to use that really for their purposes where they were comfortable, we thought that would be a very good plan.
This is Bob again reporting at about 7:50 p.m. on May 18th at the Legislature. I'm at Tree 1, which I've designated as a spot to talk with people about transit options and to interview people who are available. Pretty low participation in that, unfortunately. The House and the Senate today passed a so-called lights on bill for transportation. There's disappointment that the full amount that Governor Dayton and the House Republicans are very close to agreeing on for roads and bridges is not part of this. But there are some significant elements in it. One area of progress from my point of view is that the House has curtailed about $30 million that was going to be spent for Southwest Light Rail, and that's now available for unrestricted spending for the Met Council, and Metro Transit. I've got a spot. You're going to be standing next to everyone. So right above here.
All right. Hey, Tim. Tree number one? 20 years ago.
Cool. This is Bob again, and I'm talking with Representative Tim Kelly, who's the chair of the House Transportation Committee. I'm sure that you feel that it's unfortunate we didn't get a full bill. Yeah. What do you think about the bill that we did get?
Well, I think it was a good bill, Bob, for where we're at in the process. We'll go in on March 8th, and now we'll get our bill going from that time period.
So you'll be picking up from there.
Yep.
And as you know, there's about $30 million that was going to go to Southwest Light Rail Capital, and that now has been eliminated from that program. It's available as unrestricted spending for Metro Council and Met Transit.
That's right, and we have our vigilant people around here at the Capitol that do some fantastic work, like yourself, Bob, and we really appreciate it.
And let's talk later about how this process worked. I'd be interested in talking with you about that later.
You bet.
How is Metro Council and Metro Transit reacting to the operating budget that they've got right now? What are they telling you about that?
They're of course concerned that their operating expenses going forward are going to be hurt significantly, but I think they'll make do just fine, and I think they understand that going forward they'll have to make some adjustments in how we're funding them. So
do you hear from them they're talking about any layoffs or any service cuts at this point?
Not that I'm aware of. Nope.
Good. Nope. Well, that sounds great. I appreciate you taking the time here. It's a long session, and this is almost government by ordeal for legislators at this point. Thanks for taking the time.
One question?
Yeah.
Sorry. I just wanted to know when people came up.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. We've got Captain Jack Sparrow here.
Jack Sparrow. I'm running for Senate District 62.
You bet. Yeah.
I want to know what role Bob played in this getting this $30 million put over to the Met Council.
Oh, actually, Bob's been very good about bringing information and information that a lot of people just kind of let go by the wayside. And he brings it forward in such a way that he presents it, and we can look at it and see if it pertains to what we're doing, and it absolutely did in this case, and we appreciate it.
So it's been a helpful role then.
Absolutely.
Great, thank you.
Yep, you bet.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. You bet.
Proposed that item is adopted. Next is the public invitation of interested persons to address the council. I don't believe there's any sign up to this. Oh, all right. Do you have some comments about an item not on the agenda today, sir?
I think so. Yeah, 3 items actually.
All right, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, real good. Bob again, Carney Jr. I'm a registered lobbyist for We the People Informal Association from Minneapolis. First of all, I wanted to let everybody know the legislature passed this so-called Lights On bill, and there's about $30 million that had been appropriated for Southwest Light Rail to be available starting July 1st. That has been repurposed. That's the phrase that they use. And I'm happy to say that is now available to the Metro Council and Metro Transit for operating purposes. My understanding is that given the current situation, it would have been very difficult to come up with that much additional money for operating. So I'm really pleased about that. And I just want you all to know that in terms of transit, I'm very strongly in favor of transit and bus-based and other alternatives. Second, I wanted to let you know about a lawsuit. Judge Tunheim, who is the same judge as the 2 cases involving Southwest Light Rail, issued a preliminary injunction earlier this week on a separate case up in Fargo-Moorhead. And the issue turned on whether construction could begin on some dike works and water flood mitigation. He shut down a construction project, and the reason was that the plaintiffs would suffer irreparable harm both for a violation of the procedures involving not following environmental law, and also one of the cases cited was Sierra Club case, and the phrase from that is bureaucratic steamroller. And the judge said that there's a danger that a bureaucratic steamroller would take over and would make it difficult, in effect, to have a no-build option. So I just wanted to let you know that that is a case that is proceeding and that ruling occurred. I hope you all take a look at it. In late April, I announced a campaign to win a Pulitzer Prize for investigative journalism covering the Southwest Light Rail story, and in particular also covering the role of the media in that story. My view is that, in effect, on a de facto basis, they are participants and they are shaping the story, and I believe that they're influenced by a very powerful group of interests that appear to be centered around the Met Council. My own involvement is partly as a lobbyist and an advocate, and I disclose this, but I want to emphasize that I think it's an illusion to think that the media is looking at this and presenting things in an objective way, and I'm challenging that idea as part of my coverage on this story.